So here we have the Air Jordan 1 Low, and this is the 85 Royal Remastered, and this follows on from the Bread or the Band High version that came out in February, and this one was a bit of a stealth release and said initially that they weren't dropping, that they were cancelled, and then followed on from that being a European exclusive, and then a few days later, from last week, it was then kind of sort of mentioned that they'll be releasing at selected retail stores in the US and across the world. And from what I saw, I think a lot of people slept on these, and they were kind of readily available, at least until one day after. And I found pretty much they've sold out on a lot of places, and there's a couple of places that still have them, well, in the UK anyway, from what I checked. I managed to pick up two pairs, one being a size 7 and basically my true to size, and one being a size half up, which is what I normally tend to go with Jordans. But that one it's a bit of a strange one, but the release is strange because it's an OG colorway. I think, you know, for me personally, I prefer this over the Bread or the Band, and obviously with me I prefer the low cut anyway. So yeah, just a bit of a strange one, because I think there should have been more marketing around it, or, you know, fanfare really, and maybe they will in future, I don't know, but at the moment it just seems a bit odd. This kind of reminds me of the Jordan 1 Metallics that released last year. They basically released in the UK and EU quite a long way before releasing in the US, and I don't think that did it any favours either. And these were originally released in 1985, this particular Jordan 1 Low, and it was a basketball trainer made for Michael Jordan, and they were designed by Peter Moore. And this being a remastered one, I think it's been dubbed Remastered V2, as in version 2, because obviously you had the original 85 cut, and this one seems to be going towards being the most closest to the original 85s, which is a bit of an odd statement. I don't know, you know, if they will be revising this in future, but obviously I don't have a pair of 85s to compare it to, so I'm going to just take their word for it. But, you know, don't be surprised if you see another one in the future which is sort of version 3. But for now, you know, we'll go with what they say, and overall, you know, the look of it's really cool. So with the details, it comes in a Varsity blue, black and white colourway, and this usually with the Air Jordans, they have an airbag unit in the heel, and it's basically encapsulated with a polyurethane midsole, and that's accompanied by a rubber cupsole that you see here. And with the 85s, what I found is there's a little bit of more cushioning than the normal Jordan 1 Low, and I find that there's a little bit more sort of bounciness going on. So with the air unit itself inside, you'll feel it a little bit, especially sort of when you're walking around. It kind of almost feels sort of supportive, but also pushing you off a bit. Kind of similar to, I suppose, an Air Max sneaker. And this has got sort of all leather material, so you can see that here. It's quite sort of, I suppose, smooth to the touch. And then also what I would say is apparently this swoosh is made of synthetic material, and, you know, that feels more synthetic-y than, you know, the heel area, for example. And the front, you know, again, being one of those ones where it's the tougher leather that you normally see in an 85 cut. And the price for these are $155. So with the comfort and sizing, these are on the medium to firm side, and much like any other Jordan 1 Low really, I think, like I said earlier, with regards to the air unit being in there, it's slightly more you know, squishy, I guess. And again, it's a very sort of flat sneaker, and being a basketball sneaker, it's meant to be like that, I suppose, and there isn't too much support around the arch, so you can sort of see that here. But, you know, it's still got a nice sort of contour going on with the insole, and, you know, the overall sort of insole itself is made of polyurethane, slightly higher quality, and it's also got that Chinese writing, I believe, as well, for sign of quality. But yeah, overall it's a, you know, nice package. It feels very similar to what was in the Breads as well. So you know, I don't have a pair of those, and don't think I'll be grabbing a pair of those, and I'll explain why later on, with regards to why. And I think wearing time for these probably went up it. I put these on feet, and probably around sort of 8 to 16 hours in my opinion, just to kind of get them to wear in. They are stiff, very stiff, probably even more so than the normal 85s that came out, or should I say version 1 of the 85s. I think these feel a lot more stiffer than those even. and obviously definitely compared to a normal Jordan 1 low. And you can go true to size on these. I took a lot of the reviewers, they were saying to go true to size. I've seen a lot of reviews for the bands, and I kind of disagree with that. I think if you have like a wide foot like me, and if it's quite sort of really wide, then I would definitely sort of recommend going up half size, because what you'll see and what you'll feel is a lot of tension around this area, and I don't like that personally. I think the toe cap I can deal with, and it's not so bad because it's quite sort of sleek, but it's more just the tightness around there. It will loosen up, don't get me wrong, but I'd prefer not to struggle with that pain, and I like the comfort in knowing that the sneaker's okay to begin with, in terms of being comfortable. But like I said, if you're more on the narrow side, you can probably go true to size. It's not so much the length that's the issue, it's more the width is here. I just feel there's a little bit more slack if you go up half size. And much like any other Jordan one, it's got really great grip. This one is like a reworked outsole. Same sort of thing really, with the radial pattern on the back, and then on the front, sorry, and then you got the back with the block type tread pattern. And you can sort of see it kind of sort of slopes up a little bit more than any other sort of Jordan 1 really, even like the normal 85 version 185 and the normal Jordan 1 lows. They've got a bit more of a sort of tapered look going towards them, and you can sort of see the midsole as well. It's got that sort of curvature going on, and when you sort of go around there as well, same sort of thing really. So they kind of tapers outwards, which is a lot different than what you normally see. So with the look and style, I really like this colourway, being black and blue, really dark. I think it's just a really nice colourway. I actually prefer these to the bands, and I'll stand by that. And I think when they do a remastered version of the Jordan 1 Bread, that's when I'll probably be copying. Hopefully they do like a low version maybe next year or the year after, because usually when they release the high, they usually follow with the lower at some point, or vice versa. And this is an autumn-winter sneaker. I don't think you'd be wearing, especially not in summer, in my opinion. It's a bit of too much of a thicker cut, so it's more of an autumn-winter sneaker. Obviously, you can dress them up in spring as well. And a good sort of casual, smart casual sneaker. I know usually I say sort of smart casual because it being predominantly black looks almost sort of shoe-like, and I think you can get away with that because the 85 cut's got that kind of matte sort of finish to it, and it doesn't feel quite sort of shiny on foot. And I'd say it's best with the black laces that come with it, in all honesty, just because of the upper being pretty much black. But you can put in sort of sail, and it comes with a set of blue laces that you can sort of see here. And with that kind of options, you don't want to go too far down in turning different types of colours, I suppose. So with the final thoughts, I do like the OG 85 cut. I think they've done a good job on it, and I wouldn't say there's too much difference, and it's quite sort of subtle. I don't think you'll be missing much if you didn't grab these, for example. I really like the sleek toe box. That's a really good change of design, in my opinion. I think that's probably like the best one that I've think in terms of like having it retooled and remodeled. This sleek toe box just makes it look really nicer on foot, in my opinion. And I think the materials are good as well. Like I said, they're on the thicker side. You can feel that. I actually think they're more so than the original version 185s, but I don't know if that's true or not, but it feels better. So with the cons, I think the comfort, obviously it's at one of those things where I'm going to sort of say the breaking time as well. So the comfort, along with being a thicker cut leather, it's going to take a bit of time for it to wear in, and I mentioned that earlier, but just be wary of that. I do see it as a con because you have to kind of work these sneakers in a bit before they become comfortable. But I wore my Jordan 1 metallics, and they're an 85 cut, and they weren't too bad. But however, I feel these ones are stiffer than those. So with the ratings, I'm going to give the look and style a 5. I really like the way they look, and it's a good job, and you can see all the subtle differences in there, and in terms of the sneaker itself, and obviously it being a low cut, which I prefer myself. Comfort, I'm going to give it a 4. It's obviously it's not going to be amazing comfort, but it's fine for sort of everyday use. And the quality, I'm going to give that a 5. I think the materials overall really good, and in general, I think with these 85 cuts, they do a pretty good job on them, and I think this one in particular, it's got that sort of attention to detail, which is kind of what you need. And the price, I'm going to give it a 4. At 155 is still a lot of money. What I will say is it's still a lot lower than what the breads cost, because they were like 250. in the US in terms of dollars, and these are priced at £155, and I think, you know, they weren't that high. They were kind of the same price as the version 1 85s. So in that respect, it's a bit of an odd one where they kind of price the bread or the bands really high, but with these ones they seem to be same sort of prices as standard 85. But overall, I'm still going to give the sneaker a 5. You know, it's an OG colourway, and it's a really nice OG colourway in my opinion. And for me, it's like one of the best ones up there. So, and being a low cut personally, like I said, I really like it. If you're not on the fence about, you know, grabbing an 85 cut, obviously, like I said, it's going to take a break in time. So sometimes you don't want to like delve into the hype. I've never, you know, had a pair of Royals, so I was really like happy to grab a pair of these, and you know, just to sort of see what the fuss is about with the 85 cut. But if you were to give me a regular Jordan 1 low and a pair of these, you know, when you put them on feet, it's not going to make too much of a difference. The only difference that you're probably going to see is like that sneaker toe box, but that's, you know, sort of nitpicking really. But it would still give you the same sort of look and feel anyway. So in my opinion, I think, you know, don't get me wrong, they are very, very nice, and it's nice to have a pair of these, but at the same time, it's, you know, it's not changing the world in any way.